like similar to mine, attempted murder, robberies. But I didn't really spend too much time out there because I got locked up so quick.
Police raid in Auburn. Acting on a tip, police entered a home on Lake Auburn Avenue around 2 o'clock Monday morning. They say they found meth, crack, fentanyl, cash, and a loaded gun in the home. These 4 men were taken into custody and are being held at the Androscoggin County.
Like the foundation to start the majority of my life. I grew up in Boston. Where I grew up is kind of complicated because it's like kind of more so grew up in the system. We moved to Brockton when I was around 13, 14. So I stayed there for about a year or two, but I didn't really spend too much time out there because I got locked up so quick. You feel what I'm saying? I got locked up and then I spent most of my teenage years locked up. So I was just pretty much like, you could kind of say like literally raised in the system, raised by DYS, raised by the state. I got involved with the system actually. I was already involved with the system. I was on the chins. I got committed to the court when I was like 12, because just for shit like not going to school, skipping school, fighting, getting suspended. Well, I got expelled. I got banned from the public school system actually. They banned me, so I wasn't even going to school at one point. When I was like 13, I wasn't going to school. So I had what they call an expulsionary hearing. And then they said that I had to basically try to apply to go to a school because I couldn't even go to no alternative school. I went to an alternative school and then that happened. I got kicked out of alternative school. And so I wasn't going to school, which that in about 2 or 3 months, I was locked up again. I ended up getting locked up. You feel what I'm saying? And then from that point, I was basically locked up basically all the way until I went upstate. I was home, but I would be home on a bracelet, on a house arrest. You feel what I'm saying? I ended up cutting the bracelet off and then I went on a run when I was a juvie. Then I ended up getting locked up and that's what eventually led to me going to state prison. I didn't really get released from custody until I was probably like actually free, without any like court supervision or no probation or papers until I left state prison, which was actually in 2020, ass end of 2020 though, December 2020. The whole COVID thing, I came home to that, came home to the whole COVID situation. It was already going on up there in the prisons, like I already knew about it, but I came home like in the midst of it, you feel what I'm saying? All the COVID shit. Well, I went through a variety of stages in DYS actually, like it just kind of figure like just as you get older in general, like you go through different mental states and your perspective changes and things like that. The way I thought was just it's looking back on it like in hindsight, it's just like, goddamn, you used to think like that? Like that's just crazy. And that was the first time I got booked like I was actually, because I had gotten locked up before that, but I never got taken to a juvenile facility. Every time I got locked up at school one time and then they took me to the station and they booked me, but they just kept me at the station till my mom came to get me. You feel what I'm saying? So I was in a cell physically, but I wasn't like in a facility. You know, the first time I got locked up, which was on like serious charges. When I was 15, they took me to, at the time it's called Howland Secure Detention Facility, which is like for juveniles, you know, being charged, you know, with heavy charges like murder, like similar to mine, attempted murder, robbery, stuff like that. That was the first for me to actually go to a facility, you know what I'm saying? So I went from the courthouse, they held me at the station overnight. I went from the station, the courthouse to Brockton Juvenile Court, and then they sent me off to Howland, which is in Taunton, Massachusetts. They sent me off over there. Yeah, it was a major, like, it was just different for me because I was in this whole new environment. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like a high school in a way. It's like kind of like when people ask me, because people ask me that all the time, like, yo, how's juvie like? And I just, even in the prison system, because a lot of guys in the prison system, you know, not all of them have been through the juvenile system. So they're like, yo, how's juvie? You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, the best way I could compare it to kind of make somebody kind of understand, get like an idea, is like, I just tell people high school. Like if you remember when you were in high school, but just imagine you're in a high school, but all the bad kids you knew from high school, just imagine the whole school's like that, but 10 times worse. So yeah, so that's kind of like how I describe like just DYS as a whole, like DYS facilities. It's real wild. Like I've toured, not proudly saying it, but I've toured a lot of the penile, you know, institutions and Massachusetts and even in some other states, but all the like the county and then the state prison systems, like the worst of the worst prisons, Sousa Baranowski. And I say it all the time. I used to tell motherfuckers in Sousa all the time that they ain't got nothing on DYS, like the juvenile facilities, and I just think because the mindsets is different because you were little niggas, you were kids, you know what I'm saying? So the mindset, the mind frame is just different, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot more hectic, a lot more, it's just, it's chaotic. It's just like in the state prison system, there's kind of like a code or, a structure to it. It's not as hectic or chaotic. It's grown men, so it's like you kind of got like this kind of, we call it prison etiquette. Guys kind of got like this kind of like a mutual understanding. We're all in prison, we coincide here. When in juvie, it's like, it's just a whole bunch of kids. So it's a lot things happen more sporadically up there, like fights. It's a lot more sporadic. It could be over anything. I've seen fights over kids stabbing each other with just anything in reach, over Pop-Tarts, over silly shit, or something that happened or pop off, where, in prison, stuff like that happens on occasion, but not like as frequently as in DY. In DY, it's like any given day. Like how in football, they say any given Sunday, DYS, it's any given day. The facility could just turn into an all-out riot just at any given moment. Like, it's crazy because I've had some of my best experiences in DYS. Like, I learned so much. Like, the fitness thing, which ended up being a big part of my life, I completely, owe that to my time in DYS and a couple of staff that really drilled it into me, and they were there to guide me through it when I would ask questions on it. You feel what I'm saying? And that became like a real passion of mine. I got one staff, Walter Bridges, he used to actually bring in like the Mr. Universe and Mr. Olympia contest for me on DVD, and he would let me watch them, by myself in the rec room. He would pop in the DVDs and I would watch and that was something that was like foreign to me. Like, I didn't know nothing about that, nothing about fitness or like the bodybuilding world. But then I kind of learned about it and kind of got really into it. And like, I started studying like the bodybuilders like Dorian Yates, the Ronnie Colemans, obviously Arnold. Like, it became like an interest of mine, you know what I'm saying? And he kind of pushed that on me, and and I just was like, yo, this shit's lit. And I was just like, I got real into the fitness thing, into the workout thing in DYS. Like, it became an outlet, but deeper than that. It became like a life. That's all I used to, especially because in Howland, the facility I was in, out of all the juveniles, like the majority are like in and out. It's like an in and out kind of thing, because Howland is kind of like a transition facility. Nobody's there serving a sentence. It's like the county jail, but for juveniles. So if you got charged with a crime, you're held there on bail, till they find a program, they find bed space for you, or until you're just released. You feel what I'm saying? You're held there. So most of the kids, like the average stay there is about 30 days, but I was there for 15 months. You know what I'm saying? So the average juvenile is there for 30 days. But you have the outliers, like the kids who were there for murder and attempted murder. Obviously, their cases, they're there until they go to trial. So their trials could take upwards of, 2 to 3 years. I was there for 15 months, but at the time when I got there was this kid. He was from Boston, from Mission Hill. He was there already. When I got there, he was already there for 2 years. He was there for pretty much almost the whole time I was there, because I was there for 15 months and he left almost a year into me being there. You feel what I'm saying? But eventually, like towards the end of like by 10 months, after like a year I was there, I was pretty much the senior resident there. Like, I was the when I say senior resident, I mean like the kid who've been there the longest. So, all the kids, they kind of go to me for just, information or advice, because you get a lot of kids who it was it's their first time being locked up, or that was like my first experience with it. It was like new to me, because up until that point, I never, like, I got little brothers and sisters, but to say like I was a mentor to them before that, I wouldn't say so. I don't think they even, like, that was like my first time actually in that role. Like, when kids would come up and ask me questions, and I'd just be like, well, I just guide them. Or even questions about anything, about life. Sometimes, most of the questions would be about the legal system, because they don't really know. Like, they asking about their court date and shit like that. And I was like, because by that time, like, by my first year there, I was already pretty much familiarized with the legal system. There, you're going back and forth to court. You get court dates. You go back and forth from Howland to court. And, I was kind of, familiarizing myself with, like, the judicial system, like learning like the ins and outs and learning really how the legal system worked. That was definitely my first experience being like in kind of like a mentor or like a type of older brother, you know, type of position or role, offering people guidance, offering people just information, you know, and even being there to support people. Cause you know, kids, a lot of kids, cause I've been there, I'm gonna be honest, cause I remember I used to see kids coming through, you know, they first time, they be upset, they be breaking down, they be crying, you know, cause I went through it. When I first got booked, I wasn't.
But people who say prison can't change you or nothing, prison definitely changes you.